honest, you know, I keep it locked to DJ Kat every time. Rasta.
Yeah, that's right, people. You're locked into DJ Kat right here on the Big Bad Station, outratradio.com. We have a special guest in the studio today. We've got Casey Bailey. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm blessed.
That's
You
good,
all
man.
good?
Yeah, I'm good, man. What I want to do is kind of talk about where we first met, really. First, I think that's a good part to start off. Well, for me personally, we met at the Black Conscious Commentary event, and for some reason, you stood out to me the most. And I think you added some jokes in there. You added in different kind of mixture. You were just different from the rest.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah. So, what was your opinion of the whole thing, and what was your feel of it?
I think it was a great event, and I was asked before I performed, because obviously the like title of the event was "Is the Black Woman God?"
Yeah.
And I was asked by quite a few people in the build-up, like, what's that? Like really provoked by the idea of that.
Yeah.
Which I thought was good because that's the point of the question. Like,
Okay.
it's meant to provoke thought, and there are so many different angles you could take on it.
Yeah.
So even before the event, it was in my psyche. People were talking to me about it. People saying, "What's this? What's going on with this?" And I know quite a few people come down from Birmingham to see me perform at it, which was nice. And it was great to see a group of people who are all kind of positively talking about black people who don't always get the most positive press, talking about women who don't always get the respect that they deserve, and then obviously as a kind of cross factor of that, black women in particular often don't get positive press and positive representation. So it was powerful to be in that room and to feel that energy. So yeah, I enjoyed the event.
Well, yeah, definitely. So on that note, why do you think black women in particular don't get a positive press?
You know, I just think it's an ingrained societal thing, which people want to act like it doesn't necessarily exist anymore, and people want to talk like it doesn't exist anymore. But in a society which is dominated predominantly by white people, not necessarily by the fault of white people who currently live in that society, but factually it is, then anybody who isn't is seen as other. And then when you add to that the fact that, and so therefore your culture or your mannerisms are not understood, they're seen as different, they're seen as not fitting in. When you then add to that, we live in a society which is dominated by men, then again you have women are seen as lesser, weaker. I was having a conversation with a young person today about the fact that if the Queen marries a man, he has to become a prince.
Okay.
Because if you give him the title of king, that would automatically make him more powerful than the Queen.
Wow.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, so when you put those two things together, it's crazy enough. And I think in our society, the three, in my opinion, restricting factors for people are race, gender, and finances.
Yeah.
And so, ultimately, a lot of the time, black women they don't get to create their own narrative.
Okay.
Because they don't run anything which creates a narrative. So they're spoken about rather than spoken to.
Yeah.
People make decisions about them rather than decisions with them. So ultimately that leads to a lot of the time negative press and a lack of representation.
Wow. You know what? It's the time when we play adverts on the radio. But that's something for people to think about, because we're going to come straight back in with Casey Bailey, and he's going to talk to us about his poetry and who he is. So right now, here's some adverts. Check it out.
Arawak radio, whole gang gang.